Oh my god, guys, I just realized I didn't have my microphone on, so I'm sorry. I think we start that again. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Literally I had my microphone off. I did literally just realize that now. But yeah, welcome back to another live stream. Please don't forget to smash the like, hit the subscribe button. Let's get going. Today I want to talk about a little bit about the Manchester City squad as a whole. Is this the most complete squad we've had in probably the Guardiola era? Look, I believe it is. Look, I don't believe it's the best because we have to go out there and prove that we with trophies. I still think the 100-point season, that team, for me personally, was our best team. I think the treble team is probably the more well-rounded team. But when you look at that 100-point season, that Centurion team, that team, that for me personally, that was the best Manchester City team I've seen. But now we look at the squad. Obviously, now that we've added Gundo, we've got Gundo back. Is this the most complete Manchester City squad we've had? Given that when last season we got rid of Mahrez, we got rid of Gundogan, Laporte left as well. So there was a lot of question marks of who the Gundogan replacement is going to be. And there were times last season where it was looking real dicey. We were not playing well. I think for large spells of last season, I don't think we played that well. Like when I wasn't doing any live streaming or videos, but I remember coming off a couple of games, after watching a couple of games, I was like, yeah, we won the game, but like there was a lot of players in our team that just didn't play well. When you look at the performances, there was spells where I just felt like, have Manchester City, have we hit like a wall? Have we hit like a brick wall? Are we kind of like in the treble hangover? But there was a lot of performances that just weren't very good. And to cap it all off was the FA Cup against Man United. Obviously, I feel like a couple of them players were a little bit drunk, but I don't think last season was in terms of how we played, was our best season. And I think a lot of that had to do with getting rid of Mahrez, getting rid of Gundogan. We just it didn't look as fluent as it normally does. And I know we went on to win 9 games towards the end of the season, but for me, it just didn't. I don't think we played well. I honestly do not believe we played well last season. Obviously, you can disagree with me. I got no problem with that, but I just personally don't believe we played that well. Now, when I look at the squad we have now, with Gundogan coming back and us adding Savinho, I think this is the most complete Manchester City squad we've had under Guardiola. Look, it might not be the best, because I still, like I said, that Centurion team for me is the best Man City team I've ever seen. But when I look at the depth we have, because let's say goalkeeper, we have 2 goalkeepers, Ederson and Ortega, and Ederson has never really had a backup goalkeeper that could take his starting position. I think Ederson will be kept a lot more on his toes because he knows Stefan Ortega can come in and he can perform. He knows Stefan Ortega can come in and he can perform. So he knows he has to be on his toes. Then you look at, let's say, right back. Rico Lewis has been sensational first 2 games. Kyle Walker's going to have his hands full this season trying to get back into the starting 11, given how well Rico has played over the last 2 games. You can play a Kanji there, and obviously you can play Walker there. You look at the centre backs. We have Walker. I mean, not Walker. We have Akanji, Diaz, Stones, Gvardiol. We have centre back depth there. Nathan Ake. I almost forgot him. Nathan Ake. And you can play, obviously, the only position you might say is left back, but then Gvardiol has been really good there. I don't think he's going to have the same impact as he did last season in terms of going forward, because there was points in last season where he was almost used like a winger. But I see now that we have Doku, because I think Doku will play a lot more this season, and Savinho on the other side. I think he'll be used more as a defensive left back. And then you look at midfield. The biggest question was Rodri. How are we going to find a way to get Rodri some rest, or how are we going to find a way to win games without Rodri? because last season it was no Rodri, no wins for Manchester City. I think we lost 3 games and drew 1 without Rodri. So we knew last season, no Rodri, no win. So the biggest question was going into the window, how are we going to find a replacement? How are we going to find somebody good enough? Not only do they need to be good enough, they need to be able to play in another position, which is probably the 8, so that they can get some game time. Not only that, they also have to be okay with not starting every week. And when you look at the state of football, there aren't many 6-8 hybrids out there that can play the 6 and can play the 8. They just aren't very many of them. And so if you're going to get an out-and-out 6, first of all, he has to be good enough to play in this Manchester City team. Second of all, most of the time, if they're good enough, they're not just willing to come and sit on the bench for 90% of the time, because Rodri is going to be playing 90% of the time. So that was the big question mark. But then we got Gundo. Nobody, at the beginning of the transfer window, no Manchester City fan believed we were going to get Gundogan back. It just kind of happened out of the blue. So now that he's back, you look, when Rodri's not there, we can play a double pivot of Gundogan and Kovacic, or we can play Gundogan and Rodri alongside each other. We can play Rodri and Kovacic alongside each other. You just look at the depth, the amount of line. Sorry guys, literally my Wi-Fi just cut out. But anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, the combinations we can have in that midfield. Sorry, my Wi-Fi literally just cut off. But the combinations we can have in that midfield are a lot more dynamic than they were last year. And when you look, the only big question mark is Nunes. If Nunes actually, if we knew what he was, I think we'd get a lot more out of him, because he was linked with a loan move away to Atletico, but given the time in the transfer window, it doesn't seem like that move is going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see if he does stay. I don't think he's going to play. Because where is he going to play? Now that Gundogan is back, if Rodri's not playing, you're going to go Kovacic, Gundogan as a double pivot, or you can play Gundo alone 6, because we've seen him do it before. And so where is Nunes going to play? You're not going to play him in the 10, because that's De Bruyne and Foden. So that's the big question mark. And then let's move on to the 8. We can play Gundogan, we can play Kovacic, we can play Bernardo Silva. And then you look at the 10 position, we can play Foden, De Bruyne. I think Oscar Bob could play there as well. You go left wing depth, we have Doku, we have Savinho can play there, Jack Grealish. Down the middle, it's probably the position where you'd say, okay, we might be lacking cover, given that we've just sold Julian Alvarez. Look, I'm not. See, the thing is, if we don't get a striker, we can just go for false 9 settings, because we've done it before. There are players in that team that have done it before. Foden has done it. De Bruyne has done it. Gundogan has done it. I think obviously he broke his leg, but when he comes back, I think Oscar Bob could do it. I even think what's his name? McAfee could do it. James McAtee. I think James McAtee could do it. I think he could play false 9. So I'm not too concerned about us going out there and looking for a new striker. Look, if they go out and get someone who's willing to sit, because you're not going to play. And that was the biggest issue with Alvarez last season. And I think it was a lot of the issues in terms of how Manchester City played last season, because there were games where Pep was just trying to shoehorn him in, because he knew Alvarez was too good to be sitting on the bench. So he was just trying to shoehorn him in to give him some game time. And he did play a lot of games last season, but I know there was a lot of times when you were on Twitter and you saw a lot of Manchester City fans were literally tearing the doors off of Alvarez because of some of the performances, because he was playing as a midfielder. He's not a midfielder. He's just not. So I think that's the big concern. You have to find somebody who's good enough, but also they're willing to sit on the bench, because 90% of the time they're not going to play. So I just don't believe there's anyone in. Obviously, it seems like the Kyogo links have died down. And City Extra just reported that it seems like Man City are not going back into the window. So we're going to go into this with what we have. And so, yeah, I'm not too worried about that position, because I know there's guys in that team that can play a false nine. And then you look at the right-hand side, Savinho, Bernardo Silva. You can even stick Phil Foden there, even though I don't like seeing him on the wings. But he can go on the wing and do a job there. So when I look at all those players I've just listed off, I don't see a position where I'll be concerned if we lose Rodri for long enough. Like if you lose him for like a month or 2 months, let's say 2 months, because I think a month we could still manage. Let's say 2 months. If you lose Rodri for 2 months in terms of an injury, that's when I'd say, okay, maybe that's a little bit too much. He's out for a little bit too long. But if he's out for a game or two, I think Gundogan and Kova can do a job there. I really do. I really do think they could do a job. So there's no concern for me in any position. If Ederson doesn't start, we know Ortega can hold his own. We've seen Rico Lewis now. He's been sensational. I think he's been one of our best players. I know it's only 2 games, but he's been up there with one of the best players. So I'm really happy with the Manchester City. But I don't really believe we should go for a striker, because I believe we have enough to be able to fill the gap if Erling does go down with a niggle, because he has been prone to picking up a few knocks throughout the season. So, but yeah. So that's why I'm saying that I think this is the most complete. I think when you look at that 100-point season team, like I said before, I think it's the best team we've had. But I think defensively, there was a lot of concerns with guys like Otamendi, the team. There was a lot of Zinchenko. There was a few holes you could say. And I think we were that 100-point season. We were just going into games looking to blow teams away, and hence why we never won the Champions League. We were just going into games saying, you know what, we can stop you, but you're not going to be able to stop us either. So we're just going to outscore each other, and that's why I think we ended up not winning some of the Champions Leagues. And I think that game, are we moving? It seems like to me we're moving back to that kind of like wingers bombing down, Erling Haaland on the counter-attack, more counter-attack style in these first 2 games that I've seen. I think we moved away from it, because I think after the Lyon game, after the Monaco game, I think it was after the Monaco game where we got eliminated by Monaco, where Pep kind of just like moved away from the whole, free-flowing, bombing down the wings, counter-attacking style, because it left us so open defensively. But I think now when you look at the depth we have defensively, and you look at Rodri, I think he's more... I don't think he'll just full send it all the time. I think there'll be games where he'll go a little bit more controlled. But I think now we have the option. Like we could, if we say we go away at the Bernabeu, we can go Bernardo Silva on the right, Jack Grealish on the left, a little bit more controlled. And then when we bring them back to the Stade d'Etihad, we're cooking. We can go Savinho, Doku, De Bruyne. We can even go Foden. Have them both in a team, and we just full send it. I don't think we'll do it throughout the whole season, but I think we will have the option to. And I think when you look at last season, there were games where teams would just literally just have 11 guys sitting behind the ball, and we just couldn't find a way to break it down. I know eventually we found a way, but there were times where you just felt like we just needed that that spark. I think Doku was showed towards the end of last season, because in the middle part of the season he wasn't very good. But I think you saw towards the end of the season that just that spark that he would bring of coming off the bench. Now we have Savinho, Mahrez regen with a bit more pace. We're seeing Manchester City be more direct on the wings. And I think this is going to mean, I think if you're Erling Haaland, you must be loving this, because it's going to mean he's going to have so much more opportunities running in behind defenses. He's going to have so much more opportunities on the transition, on the break. Because what I don't think we've, and I know Erling Haaland has been sensational the 2 years he's been out. Even last season when he had a bit of a down year, 27 goals. I don't think we have used him well enough in terms of the amount of times at Dortmund I saw him just running in. Obviously, he's not going to have the amount of space he has at Dortmund because teams play differently. But there were times last season where I felt like, oh man, we should have played that ball into him a little bit early, get him in behind the defense. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that this season. We saw the goal against Ipswich, De Bruyne ball over the top. And I think that also had a lot to do with De Bruyne. And that's why I say Gundogan is going to be such a big addition to the squad, because a lot of times when Erling was making the run, the guys just couldn't find him because De Bruyne was out for half the season. Nunes wasn't going to do it. Rodri's not really going to play a ball in behind. So when you Bernardo Silva, I don't think Bernardo Silva is like a creative spark like that. I think your Bernardo Silva, your Jack Grealish, they're good for like possession, to retain possession. They're not really going to try and play a ball over the top. So I think that's the reason Erling struggled a little bit last season. But now with Gundogan back, I remember the last time Erling had Gundo, the dude's got 55 goals. He had 55 goals in his debut season. So now you're seeing that back. If De Bruyne, I don't think De Bruyne will play 3 games a week, because if Pep Guardiola plays De Bruyne 3 games a week, he's gonna break down. We just know, everybody knows that. I think he even knows that. So I don't think De Bruyne is gonna play that many games. I don't think he'll play 3 games a week as he's done over the last 7-8 years. So I think that will help a lot as well. So when I look at the squad, look. I could come at the end of the season and turns out we haven't won anything and this was all for nothing. But when I look at the performances, when I look at the players we have in certain positions, I think this could be a really good season. I want Pep let's just go for it, man. Let's just go for it, because we have nothing to lose. Look, if we don't win the league, boo-hoo, we didn't do 5 in a row. Obviously, I would love to do 5 in a row, but I don't think anyone's going to look and say, oh, obviously, it's a failure to a certain extent. But I don't think it will be as... what's the word I'm looking for, man? I don't even know how to put this. Yeah, obviously, you want to win the league, but if we don't, I don't think anybody's going to sit there and criticize us for not winning 5 in a row. But I want us this season just to full send. I don't think Pep will do it, but I want us to win everything. Because when I look at the squad that we have and the experience we have in this squad, the amount of players that have won things in this squad, that have experienced title races against Arsenal and Liverpool, that have went to the Bernabeu and got their teeth knocked out 2 years ago when Rodrigo scored 2 goals off the bench. There are players in that team that have been scarred, that know exactly how to operate in certain situations. I don't see a reason why we shouldn't go for all the competitions. We might not win them all, but I'd like us to see us take the Carabao Cup a little bit more seriously this year. Because over the last 2-3 years, we've been getting knocked out pretty early in that competition. It would be nice to just... Because we've seen over the years, once we win the Carabao Cup, it increases our appetite. So I'd like to see us win that competition this season. The FA Cup, I think we've underachieved in the FA Cup since Pep. I think we won, 2? Should have beat United last season. We should have beat United because they weren't a very good team. I'd like to see us win that more. Obviously, the Champions League, if we're being honest, we have underperformed in the Champions League. Even though, obviously, we've only been playing in the Champions League like, 12 years now? So there was a learning curve there. But when you look at some of the teams that knocked us out, we got knocked out. Okay, the Monaco team I can understand, because when you look at what they had Bernardo Silva, they had Mbappe, they had so many players in that team. They had a Mendy. They had so many players in that team. When you look at that Monaco, was it 2017 team, and you look at the players that have since their careers and what they went on to accomplish, some of them, it's like, yo, they legit had one of the best teams in Europe. So I can stomach that one a little bit more, because when you look at the players that were in that team, the Lyon one, that still gets me till today. How we lost to Lyon is a mystery to me. You remember Raheem Sterling literally missed a wide open goal, and then Lyon goes down the other end, and they basically. So I think we have underachieved when you look at the teams that we've had over the years. I think we should have probably won the Champions League. We should have beat Chelsea. Let's be honest. We should have beat Chelsea. Excuse me. When you look at where we were and where they were, we should have beat them. So yeah, I would like to see us win a little bit more Champions Leagues before Pep leaves, and I think this squad could do it, because I don't see a weakness. Look, I know Gundogan is a short-term replacement. He's not long-term. But we are in win now moment. We are in win now. Look, people say, yeah, but what about 5 years from now? Yeah, I'll deal with 5 years when I get 5 years. When it's 5 years later. Now we have a team that can literally go. The only team that's literally stopping us is Madrid. I don't see. Look, could Arsenal win the league? They could, but they don't put fear in me. I'm not looking at the Arsenal team shaking in my boots. Whereas the Madrid team, you look at that Madrid team, you're like, hey, whoo, they could do some serious damage. So when I look at the landscape of football, the only team that can sit here and make a case to me that they can legit stop Man City, because they have over the years, is Real Madrid. Other than that, yeah, Arsenal have challenged for the last 2 seasons, but Man City, they've had 7-point leads, they've had 5-point leads, and Man City have closed them down. So I know Man City can. Arsenal haven't showed me that they can beat us to a title or beat us to a cup. But Real Madrid have, and so that's the only team I'm looking at, like, okay, that they could stop us. But everybody else, I don't see it. And so that's why I want us to full send it, because United are in a rebuild. Chelsea are in a rebuild. Spurs, to a lesser extent, are in a rebuild. You know, these teams are not going to be in rebuilds forever. United will be back. Only God knows when, but they will be back, because they spend so much money that eventually they will get it right. Obviously, I think their manager's holding them back, but eventually they will get it right. Chelsea will spend so much money that eventually they will get it right. So I believe right now is the time where we need to be cleaning up. We need to be seriously cleaning up. And I think the squad, when I look at this squad, I think the squad can do it. I really do think this. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you guys think that this Manchester City squad is the most complete squad we've had under Guardiola? And if not, let me know why you don't think it is. Again, guys, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget this. If you're watching this on replay, please don't forget to smash the like, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. I will be back later doing a Champions League live draw of the new format. Should be really interesting. Didn't speak about that. I'll speak about that a little bit more in depth when we do the stream. I hope we don't get Real Madrid the first game, because you know the way eating is this year. Because if we do get Real Madrid that first game, I think it's going to be sandwiched in between the Arsenal game. Hopefully the Champions League give us a nice little cream puff. Nice little old cream puff. I'll be very grateful for that. Thank you, Champions League. Thank you, UEFA. But yeah, I think what time does the show start? I think it starts about 6. So I'll probably be live at about 5:30. Yeah, let's go 5:30. Oh, 5:45. Let's go 5:45. I'll say 5:45. 17:45. And again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to smash the like, hit the subscribe button. I will be a lot more consistent. I think over the last few weeks or last few months, I have been writing exams, you know, because some of us are still in school, still studying. So I've been busy with books, but now I think I've written myself a nice new schedule, and in terms of how I'm gonna schedule out my day, and I think I'll be doing a lot more live streams. I will be doing live match alongs from Saturday. Yeah, so I will be a lot more consistent. I think over the past 2 months, some of you have even left comments saying, "Dude, what's up? One minute you're streaming, 1 minute you're not." I will be a lot more consistent now. And other times I just have problems with my laptop. I need to get a new laptop, but so far so good. I think I've gotten some things fixed on the laptop, so I think I'll be a lot more consistent with videos. Really do a little bit more shorts. But yeah, I will be a lot more consistent from today onwards. But thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, well, we'll talk about tomorrow's schedule tonight at the Champions League draw, because I will be doing a preview, and obviously the game on Saturday, watch along West Ham, which I think it will be a tough game. Then after the game, we'll do match reaction mixed with player ratings, because last week I tried to do player ratings in terms of maybe I do it a day after in a video form, but it just takes too long, like, because editing and it just takes way too long. I don't see the point in releasing player ratings on like a Tuesday. It makes no sense. So I think I'm gonna live stream the game, straight after the game, live stream player ratings and reaction. But thank you guys. See you guys a little bit later on today. Enjoy.